to see everybody this morning. I guess we're going to get some cold weather and a little bit of dusting here coming up, so we'll make the best of it while we can. I'm going to put bill introductions further down in the schedule because I know Representative Dodson has a bill he wants to introduce, so I'm going to hold that up in the process. First order of business will be the approval of the minutes. Everybody had a chance to look at them or at least comfortable with voting on them. That being the case, all in favor of the approval of the minutes for January the 25th, please raise your right hand. Minutes have been approved. I think we'll start at the bottom of the agenda and have Representative Johnson give his presentation on the little Jeep that could beep.
Howdy, and thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate getting the chance to come in here and talk to my Veterans Committee because this is the best committee in the state capitol.
All in favor, hoorah.
Hoorah, hoorah. So the little Jeep who couldn't beep. Why in the world is Representative Johnson bringing this up? Well, because in my other life, I sometimes go out and I do read alouds. Now I'm going to ask Mr. Neely if he would pass out these books, and they are full of colored pictures. And so, Lance, I'll read it to you later. You can just look at the pictures now. This is a book. If you look at the cover, that looks like me, all worn out. This little Jeep's all beat, the windshield's torn up. I look up here at Mr. Ellis and I think, yep, we're getting a little long in the tooth, aren't we? And starting to hurt. Unfortunately, some of my seals are leaking just like this thing does. And I don't always hold air, or I have too much. But I want to read this book to you because I think it's who you are as part of this committee. So if you'll just kind of look through it. It's written by my cousin, Rosie Williams, who's with the Kansas Point Man, and her husband's got a Vietnam. And well, this is a true story for their family. There once was an Army Jeep named Marty Mutt. The Jeep, his engine went vroom, vroom, and his horn went beep, beep, beep. Honk, 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 down the road he came, carrying the soldiers over bumpy terrain. After working so hard, the months turned to years. His frame was all twisted. He'd stripped out his gears. His windshield was broken, and so was his horn, and his tires were flat, and his seat cover torn. The rain came down and washed off his dust, but sadly old Marty had started to rust. He didn't have a place to lay his tired head, so Marty got moved to the junkyard shed. He couldn't beep his horn or see from his mirrors. Marty was sad. He couldn't wipe his tears. Creak, creak, creak went the old shed door, and a kind man said, "Just what I'm a-looking for." The man was Sergeant Willie, who loved red, white, and blue. He wanted to make Marty Mutt just like new. Then Sergeant Willie took him home and patted Marty's hood. He towed him to a special spot. Marty felt so good. The hours of work were steady, though it seemed to take forever. Sergeant Willie worked so hard putting Marty back together. He didn't give up. There was pounding and grinding. He put on his goggles and sparks went a-flying. He installed a new windshield and put on new tires. He replaced the cushions and rearranged the wires. Sergeant Willie told Marty, "You're fixed and restored." He turned on the key and the new engine roared. Willie's eyes gleamed as he drove the little Jeep to a place of celebration, throwing candy from his seat. Marty Mutt was good as new, and people lined the streets. The engine went vroom, vroom, and the horn went beep, beep, beep. So that's our story. But I'm here to tell you that's what you guys have been doing on the Veterans Committee. You folks have been fixing up old Jeeps. Last year, you helped us put through that veterans home. I'm proud of that. You get out bills all the time that are taking those used up things, putting them back together. There ain't nothing better than that. And I can't think of a better example than that car, because I know there's one representative here that just came home from wherever he was fighting. In fact, his wife told him the other day she wishes he'd look at her like he looks at that Corvette. Share this with somebody you know, grandkid. You let you talk to them a little bit about the Army. Some of them never seen a Jeep. They think these Humvees are the real thing. And it lets you explain. But I'll tell you, when my son read this to my grandkids I watched, it made him think he could still go beep, beep, beep. I'm done talking now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there a round of applause and appropriate here? That is very interesting. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Guest speaker today is David Harper from Department of Revenue. Is going to give us a little update on a number of things. Thank you, sir, for being here.
It's a tough act to follow. I'm not going to be that entertaining, but I can tell you, I'll put that book on my list for storybooks for my grandson to get and read to him, share with him. That was good. So again, I'm David Harper. I'm director for the Kansas Division of Vehicles. Appreciate you inviting us over today. Have with me Kent Selk. He's our driver services manager, and possibly online virtually. Leanne Phelps, our vehicle services manager, and Lacey Black, our driver solutions manager, may be joining. So wanted to have those folks available to take any questions you guys might have. What I thought I'd do, if it's okay, is just kind of walk you through the handout that we provided. I'm going to start up where labeled as page 2, and just a real quick overview on the makeup of Division of Vehicles. We have 382 full-time positions. That's not 382 employees, but we have 382 currently funded positions. Our primary duties were divided between a administrative section, which includes the director's office, 2 of us. It also includes a training team that's responsible for training not only our staff, but for third-party vendors and for counties, treasurers primarily who use the state systems. We also have a quality assurance team that follow behind and do audits of the work we do, of the work the third-party vendors do, and of the work the counties do. We have the vehicle services, makes up about 14% of our staff. This is the one, they work closely with the county treasurers, primarily in the issuance of vehicle tags, registrations. They work with the dealers associations, dealer licensing, those types of things. We have driver solutions, which is basically a call center out of Topeka. Makes up about 10% of our staff, but these are the folks that can help people get back on the road. Somebody that's maybe had a fine or an infraction on their record and they need help getting that cleaned up. That's the team that works with them. And then our biggest part is our driver's licensing section. So this is about 74% of our staff. This is the group most people come in contact with on the most frequent basis. This consists of 40 offices, driver's license offices that are state-run, and then we also partner with 78 counties who offer a variety of driver's license services in their jurisdictions. Typically, more limited services than what we offer in the state offices. On the following page, there's a map, and I did want to talk just briefly on the driver's license operation. I know this is kind of the face of the agency. We do between 700,000, 800,000 transactions a year across the state. About 90% of those are done in the state offices. I mentioned the other 10 done through our county partners. Just so you know, all our state driver's licenses are open. We were shut down for a couple months in the spring of 2020. approximately 4 to 6 weeks in most of those offices, but since then they have been back open, so we're fully functioning. And we've also resumed what we call travelers. There was a number of counties that requested us to send staff to their counties to provide services, and we have resumed those services now. To that being done this past summer, the only county we have not resumed travel to is in Donovan County. We did train their staff to issue driver's licenses, and we're hoping, and they'd still like for us when staffing permits, to send some people up there on a temporary basis or on a schedule, maybe once or twice a week, to help them out. But driver's licenses are up and going. On the following page, well, I say we're up and going, I'll also let you aware of, in case you get calls, we do have some temporary closures. This is a list of offices that had them closed since December through the end of January. Typically, these are due, the most common factor has been due to illness in staff, due to COVID. Staffing continues to be a challenge. We average about a 12 to 14% vacancy rate amongst our driver's license staff. So some of these offices, some of our offices are 2-3 people. So if we have someone come down with illness, we try to cover that office, but if we can't, we'll shut down. The one thing I'll point out to you is most of these are just one-day closures. So we have become pretty efficient at closing down, doing a deep clean of that office, immediately notifying the customers who had appointments with us and rescheduling them, and then opening the next day. We err on the side of caution when it comes to the safety for our staff and for the customers. With COVID, we installed plexiglass partitions between our examiners and the customers. We practice the social distancing. Our drivers wear masks. We request customers to wear masks. We insist customers to wear masks if we're going to get in their vehicle and do a drive test. But we've taken what precautions we can, and we'll continue to do so. The next page, I just want to mention, this is a list off our website of appointments. And I think having an appointment system is what has what has allowed us to successfully navigate it through the past 2 years successfully. We had an online appointment system in our larger offices prior to COVID. Once COVID hit, we set up an appointment system with all offices. And then just a month or so ago, we actually moved those mid-sized, smaller offices online. So right now, you can go to this website and a customer can schedule an appointment online with any of our offices. And the results are on the next page where you see the chart. This bar graph, this shows the wait and service time of our large driver's license offices across the state. I do want to clarify, we do still allow walk-ins, but we call ourselves an appointment preferred operation. So you can still do walk-ins. Right now, about 65% of our customers are scheduling appointments, but that number's growing, and I think a lot of that's because the online system for the smaller offices is new. So as people become more familiar with that, we expect that to continue to grow. A couple advantages of the appointments. One, if you look at this graph, you can see the orange, the high numbers. That was in 2018. People were waiting up to an hour to be serviced in a lot of our offices. And at that time, we knew we had to change our operation. And that's when we started looking to an appointment system as opposed to a system where you just basically got online and took your number to the office and waited to be called. If you look at the chart, you can see the blue column, and then for January, the green is for January of this year. We are down now to averaging around 20 minutes in these large offices, and that's total service time. So that's from the minute you walk in the door, check in, entered into the system with our greeter, have your seat, called up to the counter, complete your transaction, have the transaction complete, and leave. We're averaging about 20 minutes. That's our target goal. That's what we want to keep. We have days where it's not that good. I'll be honest with you, but we're pleased with what the appointments has allowed us to do to get people in and out in a more timely manner. We just knew that system, or we had no idea how many were going to show up one day. It just wasn't a good business model. So we're pleased with this. The other good thing is it allows us to social distance. We can control how many people are in the office. at one time. If you walk into any of our driver's licenses now, the same one that maybe you went into 2-3 years ago, I hope you'll notice a difference. We've put a lot of effort into remodeling offices, relocating offices. Our chairs are spaced out. There's a big change. So I hope in your area you'll notice that change. On the next page, just wanted to show you, this is through our appointment system. One thing we track is how long it takes somebody to get in. You can renew your license up to a year in advance of the expiration date, but a lot of people are like me and they procrastinate and wait till the last minute. So if you look here, these are the state-run driver's license offices. And as of January 28th, if you went online, this would be the next available days where you could grab a time to come in. So the majority of these, 3/4 of those, you would have been able to get in within 2 weeks. The bottom right, where you get into the longer wait times to get in, those are primarily due to staffing issues we've had in those offices. I know down around Baxter Springs, Independence, we've juggled some staff around, so I'm hoping that'll impact that. But so far, so good. The next page is the same numbers, but this is for our CDL offices, and this is on page 8. For the most part, you can see that the wait time is short, but it's growing down at the bottom. We're going to go a little bit more with CDL, and Kent's going to be available to help me out with some questions you might have on CDL. But a lot of this is just demand and staff. But our goal is when a commercial driver needs to come in and do a skills test, we can get them within 30 days. And that's the goal we're going to try to meet. We'll continue to watch this and identify areas we may need to try to relocate staff or bring some staff down to help with special events, possibly additional hours on a temporary basis at time. But we know there's a demand for commercial drivers. We know it's important we get them licensed quickly, so this is a key chart for us. On page 9, talk a little bit more about the CDL, the commercial driver's license. Some of you may have heard about a new program. It's an entry-level driver training program that's impacting some of the commercial drivers. This is something that came down from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Goes into effect February 7th. Main change is now for someone to come in and do a skills test with us. Prior to that, they must have obtained training from a training provider listed on this federal training provider registry. I think some of the concerns been there could be additional costs to have that training. We've known this is coming for a couple of years. There was a little bit of talk about a delay, but it sounds like it's going into effect February 7th. My next 2 bullet points, we've had requests from people to help get more drivers in before this takes effect. So as you see here in Seneca, we were up there. We sent additional staff shut down a couple of our other CDL locations for a day and sent staff up there and worked with a group called Ag Partners Co-op and had a 2-day event to get commercial driver's license in and get the test taken. Actually, today we're doing a similar event with Heinen Brothers up in Hiawatha. These are people that have reached out to us, asked, hey, what can we do to help get more drivers in before this new rule goes into effect? I think in each location we had over 100, 150 or so drivers we got in. So we're trying to stay ahead of the curve on that. Another thing I want to mention to you for this committee is the program called the Military Commercial Driver's License Even Exchange Program. So this is a program that should not be affected by this new entry-level driver training. This is something for military drivers who do have the CDL, where they can convert that over to us. Kansas is is the 5th state. I'm not sure how many do it now, but we were the 5th state to jump on board with this and start participating in this. I see my bottom bullet there. In 2021, we issued 50 CDLs and 32 military skill waivers. So this is just our partnership with the military. They've obtained their CDL through them. They have the CDL. We're just helping them transition to our license. Also, just want to mention too for you, for this committee on page 10, again, there's a veteran indicator that you can have put on your driver's license. I list here what the applicant must provide to obtain that. We've got a good relationship with the Kansas Commission of Veteran Affairs and work with them. If somebody has trouble obtaining one of these credentials, we're able to get them in contact with the right person and help them to get that credential added to their license. Another feature we do on page 11 is for military who may be out of state. We offer a mail-in renewal. So this is a good thing to remember and remind people of if their renewal date's coming up. We do offer this process. Again, there's some requirements. They must have a current photo. They must be a Kansas resident. They must provide the lawful residency. But if they're just renewing, we have an application we can get them. They can just mail it in and process it, and then they'll get their license mailed to them. Again, just include who this is available to, but it includes active military as well as military contractors and their families and dependents. So good program that's been successful for us to give them other options. I also just want to mention on page 12 our online services. So this is available to all, but again, for someone who may be out of state for military duty or whatever reasons, we do now offer an online renewal for a driver's license and a CDL. The age restrictions must be between the ages of 21 and 65. You have to have had a vision exam in the past year, and we have a drop-down box of all the optometrists in the state, and they can select who that was with. I think made it a fairly successful online transaction for them. With all these vehicles online the past couple of years. As of the way we're hoping it will, I think right now only 5% of our renewals are being done online. Stepping up there for people. It's we're trying to do as much as we can. This is a group that not they go to so we're trying to get outside our office and people are it would be a benefit to the group rate on those exams, make sure, it's in line with what they do when they come into the office, and it is typically 70 to 75% in office and online pass on the first time. So you can see, since we've gone live, we've done about 4,300, 4,400 people have taken advantage of that. The neat thing I like that I see is about 20 or 25% of those took the test on weekends. So we're providing a way for somebody that can't get in there from 8 to 5 to get the test. So just something new we're doing that's been successful for us. And on page 15, I did want to mention the federal real ID. It's always just been a question for the past several years, so it did get pushed back again. So it's 2023 now is when that goes into effect. Kansas is in a good position. If you look in the bottom row here, you can see 65% of our Kansas credential holders hold that real ID. About 86% have had the opportunity to either obtain it and have either obtained it or declined it. So they've been into our office, had the chance to get the real ID. I think we were ready to go last year with it, but it got delayed by basically from some concerns from other states. But thing about in Kansas, we started issuing the real ID in August of 2017. So if it's not going live till 2023 and you renew your driver's license every 6 years, everybody's going to have had a chance to get in. So we feel good where we're at on the real ID. A reminder, if you get questions on it, you do not have to get it. It's not a requirement. We're an optional state. Your standard driver's license is just fine for driving purposes. All this will be needed is for a federal facility or for air travel. If you're using your driver's license to board a plane after this goes into effect, it's going to have that gold star on it. Page 16, I was going to switch gears just a little bit, and these are just some numbers on plate types. We always get we get frequent questions about how many plate types there are, how many different types there are out on the road. So right now in Kansas, if I count it right, we have 105 different plates, versions of license plates. I think I've seen at least 2 or 3 bills this year to add a couple more. I tried to go through and highlight for you the ones that pertain to veterans or military, just for your reference. So there's 2 pages of that. Again, in total, we have about 3 million of the registrations. You can see down at the bottom right on page 17, just the standard plate is obviously the most popular, but you can see the veteran plate is 75,000 is the highest one in production on for military or veterans. But hopefully that's helpful for you, just some general information. Did want to also share with you on page 18, and I brought copies. Happy to share, but these are the new plates that went into effect this year for the new military plates. Be happy to pass these around if you want to see them. So those just went into effect where people could order those January 1 of 2022. And so they're out there, and you'll start seeing those on the road. The following pages, we just went in and tried to include images of all the different military license plates or veteran plates. Looking through this yesterday, I caught we got a duplicate slide in here, so I apologize for that. But again, this just for your reference, so you can see what plates are out there. We do have a full document, a PDF that contains images of all the plates. If committee or anyone's interested in that, we'd be happy to send it over to you to share. Just let us know. But I think it's interesting just to see what the different plate types are and how they look. This is I'll remind you for this plate, as you look at it, in 2018, we moved to what's called the digital production. So in past years, we were kind of limited on how creative, how bright colors we could use. We partner with a group called Center Industries out of Wichita who uses 3M to produce the plates. And with that digital production now, we can get a little more colorful, I think, with our plates. One of the reasons we changed also in the past on the plates, we used to try to guess how many would be ordered. So we, in the treasurer's office across the state, would have boxes and boxes and boxes of license plates for people to come pick up. Now it's basically order on demand. So when you come in, you get a temporary plate, put it on your car. Then typically within 2 weeks, you'll get your new plate mailed to you. I will tell you, That's what's been up till about a week ago. We're running into the issue with delivery. Our center industries is having trouble now getting that sheeting, just like so many other things. So the time to get the new plates in the mail is growing, but there's no expiration on that temporary plate you get. And this isn't the temporary plate you drive off the car lot with. This is just a paper plate that you put on until that one's issued. So overall, until we ran into this issue with the production of plates, it's been a good process. We're hoping that they can get that stock in and we can get back on our normal schedule. And finally, on page 22, this is something Leanne Phelps and her team put together for us, and just wanted to give this to you as a good reference. We're asked a lot what different people need to get these different types of plates, so we tried to put this all in one document for you. So just shows the plates, what's required to get that plate by statute. So hopefully that's helpful to you and a good document for you to reference at later dates. So our last page is just contact numbers. I encourage you to reach out to anyone on this page at any time if you have a constituent that has some challenges with something our department can help with, or if you have some issues, please let us know. And otherwise, I can stop, and myself and our group be happy to take any questions you may have.
Thank you, sir. Very interesting. I spent very little time in the office in Junction City last week, and when I walked in, I thought, I'm going to be here for an hour and a half, and I turned around to leave, and I thought, well, it'd be the same when I come back, and I was surprised. I was out of there in 15 minutes.
And I do want to mention, when we're talking about offices, we currently have a request for proposal out for a new office in Manhattan, and we're hoping to find one that's on the southwest side that we hope can help Junction City, and we're hoping that to be a CDL office. So we know there's Junction City is busy. So, but I'm glad you got in and out that timely.
It was very quick. I was very happy.
Good to hear.
Questions from the committee? Representative Dodson.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. This kind of a comment as well on CDL. I got quite a few questions from constituents, and I sent notes over to your office, and I appreciate the quick response. However, you know, when these kinds of things come out from the federal government, if you're a long-haul trucking company, I assume that you're pretty much aware of these changes. When you get down to the level of a landscape company or maybe a small contractor who has to haul gooseneck trailers and things like that around, this did sneak up on some. Now, my memory is that to get a CDL, it cost about $2,000. So I would just ask that if you go down to get a CDL from a trainer, that we make sure that we don't have any price escalation. A lot of these small companies just can't do that. You know, with the turnover that you have, this would just be a real burden on some of these smaller companies.
And I think, Ken, help me out if I need to, but I think that's part of their concerns. There's really nothing in there to prevent them from setting what price they want. So maybe that's something that, you know, this group may need to address, because I don't think there's any restrictions now. We just saw this morning, we did just get a new frequently asked questions on this from the federal motor carriers. Might be something we forward on to the committee, may be helpful for you as you get questions too on this entry level test. But yeah, we'll go ahead and send that over and have that distributed. But it looked like a pretty good summary sheet. But appreciate the comments.
Representative Poskin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the report today, and I can attest to the increased efficiencies in the Johnson County Driver's License Office as well. Thank you.
Good.
I just had a quick question on the number on each type of plate. What does the MC refer to after? So you've got a National Guard MC plate, and then you have just a National Guard plate. What's the
motorcycle?
difference? Thank you.
And I asked the exact same question of our manager about 2 weeks ago, so I'm glad I did now.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's one of those, yeah, once you see it, oh yeah, okay.
Representative Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for the briefing, Mr. Harper. I'm very concerned about the delays in Garden City. I'm from Finney County. It's about a 6-week wait for CDL. And I'm wondering if those CDL events need to be requested by firms or counties. I noticed the two you have are within 60 miles of Topeka, so that wouldn't help us out. But would you please address that for me?
Yeah, and you're right. The ones we have are where associations reach out to us trying to help their membership. I'm not aware of any plans for Garden City, but Kent, I don't know if you have anything to add. Kent oversees the CDL program or the driver service. I might let him weigh in if we have anything going.
Yes. Thank you, Chairman. My name is Ken Selk with Manager of Driver Services. We have assisted out west. Usually our west push is around custom harvest season, so those kind of come up. These individuals kind of reach out to us. We're not opposed to any event to go out to help out. The manager, Brian Brunt's very good. He's an ex-military guy, ex-Marine. He's been very good with the military community too and the bases. We're certainly not opposed to it, so I can reach out to him and see if we can't maybe do something. Maybe he can send the staff out and get some of those guys in a little faster, and we can knock that wait time down. So I can send the individuals there, and we can probably clean that up a little bit quicker.
Mr. Chairman, may I follow up? I appreciate what you're doing for us veterans, although we're 225 miles from the nearest military base. But I'll reach out to some of the firms and see if they can contact you for an event.
Sure, and our contact information is there, and like I said, we're willing to help as much as we can and get truckers in, or anybody for that matter, but do best of our part to, I know it's a fast turnaround, right? It's not a good thing to be waiting. People want them back in office, so what we can do to help.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And if I could, just add on to that.
Yes, sir.
I did want to mention, the Federal Motor Carriers Association, they're offering considerable more grant money this year. And we're on a seminar tomorrow, I believe it is. And we're hoping to find out exactly what all that grant money can be used for, but we're hoping it can be used for trainers, for additional staff, so we'll keep you posted on that, but we're hopeful we can get some funds to help us improve.
Other questions? Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your report. It's very thorough. Thank you. Question on CDL. There's a House bill called 2577, and it's going to update the CDL qualifications or suspensions. And one of the suspensions was 10 years or life. Do you folks know anything about that? Or is in
And I'll look back. Come on up, Kent. I'll need you. But that is a bill that there is. I'll speak just on one piece. We received notification on human trafficking from the U.S. Department of Transportation. There is a provision in there that requires a lifetime suspension, a lifetime ban. That's in that bill. That's one of the things we need. Some of the other things are just a 10-year, but I can let Kent, the expert, address that more thoroughly.
Yeah, the lifetime ban is if you're obviously convicted of human trafficking, then they notify us, and then that's pretty statement. But the other one that you're mentioning is for alcohol offenses. So if you're a commercial driver currently, it's 2 strikes, you're out. So if you get one offense, you get a 1-year suspension. The second one's a lifetime. What this allows, the federal government gives us a little bit of leeway. If you've haven't had a license for 10 years or haven't had your CDL for 10 years, you're able to return or able to get your CDL credential back. Obviously, we'd have probably some, I want to say, rules around that at some point in time. I'm sure if we probably want somebody back that's committed vehicle homicide while they're driving, intoxicated. But this would allow other drivers that have been disqualified after that 10 years to come test and get their CDL back.
Do you know where this is exactly at? I think it's over in the Senate. It's past the committee.
Floor.
It's on the floor.
Yeah. We know it's on the Senate floor. It's in House Bill 2377. That part is it not?
23 or 25? Something.
It's right there. We'll double check and look, but I'm pretty sure it was 2377, but it kind of gets confusing there. But I do know it's on the Senate floor, and I've been contacted by Senator Ellis, and they're trying to push that through. Yes, you. My bad. Representative Ellis, yeah. A lot of people contacted me the last few weeks, so I apologize for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm glad you didn't say anything bad about it.
Representative Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your presentation. You have 78 of the offices that are run or in counties where they don't have a state office, correct?
They may be in the same county, but that's typically it's in the treasurer's office where county treasurer staff.
Are there any of your staff or any KDOR personnel working out of those offices?
We are located in a couple courthouses. Yes, but the ones I'm referring to as the 78 are ones we have an agreement with the county treasurer to actually, and typically it's what they do is
So it's
renewal.
more just a physical place that you're operating out of the county courthouse or something like that, correct?
We are operating out of a couple courthouses, but the majority of what I'm referring to in that 78 are county staff, county treasurers who provide some driver's license services. There's no state
there
employees
is
at
no
all.
state.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And that's 78 counties.
Correct.
Bear with me, I took notes on different pages. How many, well, let me ask you this. Here in Topeka, are all of the driver's license and renewals done at 29th and Topeka?
Yes, we have that, and then we have our CDL office out at, by the sports.
That's out off of
Burlingame.
37th and Burlingame, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so but everything else for just
Yes.
everyday Joe citizen has to go to 29th and Topeka.
Correct.
Okay. I had something else. Oh, you mentioned Real ID. I thought Real ID was supposed to be fully effective or operating like 24 months ago.
It was. It's been pushed back twice by Homeland Security. There were states who were not ready. There was concern that what it was going to.
So that's more on the Fed side than.
It's all on the Fed side, yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How many, do you know offhand how many KDOR employees you have out in the Hayes driver's license?
I don't, you can't, you're saying 4?
4? All right. I think that's all I have for now. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Other questions from the committee? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Harper. Really appreciate you being here. Very informative. Committee, as I stated at the beginning of the meeting, we're going to have bill introductions now because I know there's one out there. So with that, I'll recognize Representative Dodson.
Well, thanks, Mr. Chair and committee. We talked about this some time ago. So formally, I request the committee introduce House Bill 2540. This is a request to authorize the emplacement of a Gold Star Family Memorial on the south grounds of the state capitol. There's no impact is given in the fiscal note. And I just highlight behind me on my left, Lieutenant General retired Perry Wiggins, head of the Governor's Military Council. And if you're trying to kind of find out where ideas like this come from, you think, well, why didn't we do it a long time ago? Well, Perry's got a network that served this up, and to his great credit, he brought it to us. So we're going to work this, and Senator Longbine's going to work it on the Senate side. And it's all going to be private money raised. We may have some exceptions that will come perhaps as a result of some licensing, but it'll be out here in the south lawn right between two existing flower beds. It's about 4 feet tall, has a nice plaque on top, and I think it'll be a tremendous asset for us here in Kansas so that it's a demonstration of how much we care about our Gold Star families. So I don't know if Perry has anything to add. We'll certainly, when we discuss the bill, we can go into detail. But again, appreciate him bringing this to our attention and getting everything started from design to materials to contracting and all of that.
Thank you. Any questions from the committee? Representative Weigel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we spoke about this a little bit. Have there been any preliminary designs or sketches made for
Yes.
how this is going to look?
Yeah, it's essentially about 4 feet tall. It's almost completely square, has a slanted top where the plaque will go. And bids have been taken. I think it's somewhere around $9,000 total.
And so this won't be similar to some of the other ones that I've seen, correct?
I don't know what you've seen.
Well, they have one over in, I think it's in Olathe, and I believe that one is similar to the one at Patriots Point in South Carolina, which is, it's like to the entrance of the USS Yorktown, which is parked there or docked there, whatever. And both of those are similar in design, so this is going to be a little bit different. Is that what you're saying?
What you're talking about is the Woody Foundation. It's a former, well, he's a Medal of Honor winner, a Marine. He started a foundation for Gold Star families' memorials. They are promulgated throughout the United States. There is one in Olathe that was just recently dedicated this past year. That is a black granite monument, has a service member standing at attention with words. It's about a $75,000 monument. When we first started talking about here on the State House grounds, is what we're talking about, the Capitol, in our Veterans Walkway, we wanted to have something there that was not overbearing and something that fit in nicely with the monuments that are already existing there, which is gray granite. Preponderance. As Representative Dodson said, it is 44 inches tall, it's 24 inches wide, 18 inches in depth. It has a bronze plaque on top that'll have the Gold Star pin. It'll have a citation that says, on behalf of the citizens of the state of Kansas, in honor of those families who gave a service member in service to this nation, protecting our freedoms and our liberties. That's basically what it says. And so we want it to be dignified, we want it to be respectful, and it's within our Veterans Walkway already on the south side of the Capitol building here, and it fits in nicely. So I hope that answers your questions. But yes, sir, there is a foundation out there. They run the foundation basically for $75,000 will run the fundraising. They'll produce the statue or the monument, and to me, to be honest with you, having looked at it, if we put that striking black monument on these grounds, I think it would be it'd be definitely eye-catching, which is different than what else we have on these grounds. And that was the thought process that was brought in.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any further questions? Okay, thank you, Representative. Oh, I'm sorry. Representative Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the record, is there a fundraising site or opportunity? Thank you.
Or passed, because it establishes an account at the Treasury Department. We'll be able to put those funds. The monument costs right now $5,918. That was working with the monument company. It's coming out of Peterson's Monuments in Abilene, Kansas. We put out bids. They came back. They gave us a great price on the stone coming out of Georgia. And so right now we have a process. We're working with veteran support organizations, and we're getting input from them on whether they want to adopt this monument as far as sustainment. And I'm talking about sustainment not in the fact of sustaining the monument itself, but long-term. September 25th, for example, is Gold Star Mothers. I guess it's the day for Gold Star Mothers.
We have talked to veteran support organizations about when you sponsor this, you provide dollars, and every year, then in perpetuity, you have a wreath laying ceremony where we can come together as a state, recognize those families, and they can then buy ownership into that ceremony, into the wreath, the cost, and participation. So we're waiting back for them. We told them that if they want a cost share for organizations, we reached out to American Legion, BFW type, and it'll be about $1,400 each organization. They contribute, and then annually, they provide a certain amount of dollars to basically have the ceremony every year. And we have not heard back from them, but they do have the memo.
Further questions from the committee? Thank you, Representative Dodson. Committee, I've got 2 bills here. I don't think we're going to have time to get through them today, so I'm going to put them off until the next meeting. Just as a matter of time. I want to give them the bills, that is. I want to give it the right amount of time so that we can work these bills and get the most out of them. So I'm going to put that off till we'll work these bills the next meeting. Any other further questions from the committee? I'd like to thank General Wiggins for being here with us today from the governor's office. We're always glad to have him. And with that, and no other questions, we are adjourned.